I'm playing my way through Divinity Original Sin 2 without wearing any armor in honor mode, which means if my whole party dies, my save file will be instantly deleted. To improve my chances, I'm using ridiculous or cheesy strategies to survive the battles, but no two fights can be the same, so I'll need to keep coming up with new, quirky ways to take on each fight. I've just finished Act 2 and I'm about to sail into Act 3, but I realize the town of Driftwood is still being terrorized by a monster that needs to be slain at any cost.
Keeping it together, Bree. Keeping it together, Bree.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends.
Ah, the old hide a death fog barrel under the fish barrels trick. Caught the beast off guard. Now that I'm on the Nameless Isle, there's a fight with a decision that needs to be made. Do I side with the Magisters or the Black Ring? Well, I guess there's a third option too, which is to just nether swap my way out of the conversation, see who wins the fight, then slaughter them. I choose option 3. Looks like the Black Ring had a pretty decisive victory. But they're not going to be able to celebrate for long because I have something in store for them that's going to bring this fight to an end very, very quickly. You might notice the battlefield is covered in blood, and that's because I cast Rain Blood a bunch of times before the fight started. And all I need to do is get all the Black Ring grouped up together on this blood surface. So I teleported a bunch of corpses right into the middle so I can use them as placeholders for nether swap, and Thane is going to do his job and group all the enemies up into a nice clump so my party members can take it from there. Thane should be able to group all of these guys up by himself because I nether swap one, teleport another. I can use Skin Graft to get those 2 cooldowns back. I can use Time Warp to get another turn. I can use Adrenaline multiple times. So we've got all the action points we need. We have all the spells we need to get everybody nice and clumped up. Look at this beautiful clump of enemies. They're all hanging out together, they're friends, they're all looking at me kind of funny. Maybe they want me to bow or curtsy or do a backflip or something, but you know, unfortunately for them, that's not where this is headed. Where they're headed is getting ripped to pieces by undead hands from underground, because I'm going to use Grasp of the Starved to absolutely butcher these guys. Grasp of the Starved damages any enemies that are standing on a blood surface, and it does quite a bit of damage and can cripple them if it gets through their physical armor. In order to make the most of my first cast, I'm going to weaken Sebille down to very near death and use Death Wish right before casting it. This should allow me to hit them with a massive chunk of damage on the very first attack. Okay, so here we go with Death Wish, and then I'm going to cast Grasp of the Starved. I also have High Ground. Oh, that was 1500 damage. That destroyed their physical armor and crippled all of them instantly. That was amazing. I had my other party members follow up with their own Grasp of the Starved. The Red Prince was actually too far away to join the combat, but I've already used that as an exploit before, so I didn't bring him back in to do any more casts. The wolf tried to run away. It got hasted, so the cripple was removed, but it didn't really matter. The fight was so over by this point already, just in a single spell from each of my party members. Thane did actually get totally butchered when they got to take their turns, but since they were crippled, they couldn't go after any other party members, and I was able to finish off the fight really easily, no trouble at all. In Act 3, as far as I was aware, there wasn't a way for me to get source back other than by purging corpses, so after each fight, I needed to go and use source vampirism on any intact corpses that were left so that I could get source points back if I wanted to be able to use them in the next fight. Luckily, there are a lot of corpses laying around, so I wasn't too limited. It's time for Sebille to get revenge on the Shadow Prince. This lizard branded Sebille with a mark that allowed him to control her with a song, but that ends today. Because thankfully, I've been a good enough companion that Sebille was willing to teach me the song so I could counteract his song.
Your voice harmonizes with the master's. Stunned, he hesitates, and yours becomes the dominant melody.
I'll take it from here.
The patient cat finally pounces. Her needle pierces his neck, spears his vocal cords. This is it. It's time to kill the master.
The Shadow Prince actually has a lot of reinforcements, so I'm gonna bring some reinforcements of my own. This is Krug the Troll, and he's a pretty strong enemy that doesn't have any magical armor innately at all, which means I can use Dominate Mind on him without any prerequisites whatsoever. I can also just teleport him right over to the fight on top of the Shadow Prince, making it really easy for me to position my reinforcements in just the right spot to be extremely effective. I had Fane teleport Sebille up to high ground since she has a huntsman build and she'll be safe there, and I accidentally landed her right on top of that guy, which made it easy for me to nether swap Fane up and stand by Sebille's side up at the top. The Shadow Prince and his allies are such cowards. They use invisibility all the time, completely unfair battle tactics. I would never stoop that low all the time constantly. The main difference between me and them is that I know how to find people that are invisible. If you go to teleport somebody and you notice there's a little location that you can't put them down, that's because somebody's standing there. You can just teleport them right on top and reveal the enemy. I had Sebille take a shot at that guy to weaken his physical armor, so hopefully the troll can knock him down or something, before using tactical retreat to see where it's not going to let me land my character, because once again, if you can't land somewhere, it's because there's somebody standing right there and you can just manually fire and reveal them. The troll distraction was a perfect weapon to put into the fight because now my enemies are fighting against this troll that doesn't even want to fight them. The only reason why they're attacking him is because he's charmed. But it's a great way for me to waste all of their action points, and they literally can't kill him because he has way too much health regeneration. They would never even come close. That being said, not all the enemies went after Krug the Troll, and I did get wiped pretty hard by that fossil strike, but Fane is always carrying those Idols of Rebirth, so he's going to be able to get Sebille back on her feet and back into this fight. All right, Krug, show me what you got. Fossil strike, okay, good. Wasting action points walking. Oh no, that was great. He knocked him down. That was perfect, Krug. 10 out of 10 troll. He's a good boy. Who's a good troll? Krug's a good troll. Oh, yes, you are. All right, so let's get Sebille back in the fight because we can't let her miss her chance to get revenge. Probably the most unfortunate thing working against the Shadow Prince is that I have a red flag on my minimap that marks where he is, so even though he turned invisible, it still shows me his exact location. I know exactly where he walked to. With the flag on the minimap, I knew exactly where to look to teleport an enemy. I didn't even have to like actually look around. He's right there. It's just standing right there. And I let Sebille take a couple shots, but since I don't have armor, I'm starting to really feel the missing stats from armor. Not having additional finesse, not having extra huntsman or warfare. I'm really starting to feel the lack of damage, especially when I'm using a simple build like a huntsman build. I used Losa to break down the Shadow Prince's magical armor because if Sebille is truly going to get her revenge, I'm gonna need that magic armor gone. I feel like one of the most satisfying ways to give Sebille her revenge is to use Dominate Mind on the Shadow Prince because he thought it would be okay to control her mind, but now she gets to turn it around on him. And with the Shadow Prince as one of our warriors, the fight was really quite simple. The enemies were all just fighting each other while we were standing up at the top and watching. Sebille finally got her revenge on the Shadow Prince, and Sebille was finally free. Once it was finally just Krug the Troll left, I just teleported him up onto the ledge because he can't use ladders and has no movement abilities, so I was able to just shoot him over and over again until the fight was over. I know it's not a very nice way to thank him for all of his assistance, but there was really no way to calm him down after the battle, so, you know, what choice did I have, really? To really let Sebille get full satisfaction from the kill, I had her go over and use Source Vampirism on the Shadow Prince's spirit, so he no longer exists anywhere at all, ever. Well, what do we have here? A bunch of constructs surrounding a sword in a pedestal. There's no way they're going to attack me when I try to pull it out, but just in case, just on the crazy off chance that these four things are gonna spring into action as soon as I touch that sword, let me go ahead and group them all together with Nether Swap first, because it doesn't do any damage, so, you know, it said attitude -20, but I don't think that's going to make a difference. Oh, the sword is really stuck in here tight. You know, I'll just go ahead and yank it out as much as I can, and there we go.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow. Who would have seen this one coming? Not me. Luckily for me, these guys are down at a super low ground point, which means I can throw explosive traps from up high, and I don't even need to be in stealth. I'm so far away that I cannot join the battle. I'll be right back when I'm done throwing traps. Okay, I'm just gonna throw a couple more traps to make sure we've really got it settled in, you know? We really have everything that we're looking for this explosion. Because, you know, I don't want Fane to, you know, get killed by these guys, so we gotta make sure we have the one shot. All right, I don't want them to move, so I'm gonna have Fane go over and stand right next to them and then use cryogenic stasis, so they shouldn't have any reason to go anywhere. They should just hang out. And okay, so these guys actually took a really long time to take their turn, so I'm going to speed the video up because they were really thinking about it, trying to figure out what to do about these traps. That was absolutely incredible. That was exactly what I wanted to happen. A perfect outcome that went exactly as planned. I don't always get those. Of all the things that I do in this video, I'm the most proud of this next one that you're going to see because it really came together in a great way. I recruited Dolores, who I apparently saved in Fort Joy. I don't actually remember doing that fight, but I guess I saved him, and I recruited him to the party and then had him stand in this poison until he was at basically no health, and then I shot at him with somebody to get him all the way down to 1 HP. I also had my party members shoot at each other and bring each other all the way down to 1 health as well, which was really scary because this is honor mode, and if I were to, like, I don't know, walk on an invisible trap or something and get TPK'd, I guess Fane still has his Idol of Rebirth, but still a little bit nerve-wracking to put everybody this low, but it's going to be worth it. We're on our way right now to fight and kill Alexander. And Dolores has 1 HP, but he does leave our party and go over and stand by Alexander's side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Tactical Retreat to jump right next to Alexander. Then I'm going to use Living on the Edge right before I attack Alexander directly to start the fight. The reason I cast Living on the Edge is because Dolores is a little bit of a cheater. Takes 1 to know 1, and he jumps ahead of me in initiative order. Even though I would have him beat, and he could just kill me with anything. He does use first aid on himself, which I was not really anticipating, but thankfully it didn't mess anything up. He throws glitter dust at me so I can't turn invisible anymore, and then he heals with an elixir. But here's where the magic starts. I'm going to use Nether Swap to bring Dolores down here and stand him next to Alexander with me. Then I'm going to use Smoke Cover to shroud this whole area in smoke to limit my enemy's sight lines. I grouped all my party members up together and put them all into sneak mode before using my teleporter pyramid to bring them to my side right here in the smoke cloud. And because they're in the smoke cloud, nobody can see them and they don't get brought into combat. You see, there's no swords next to their names. They're not in this combat right now. And now I'm going to use Equalize, which doesn't get resisted by armor, so Equalize works all the time. And what it does is it takes all the health percentages of everybody in an area and redistributes them equally. Since all my party members are essentially at 0.1% health right now, that's going to be a pretty big boost for us. And with Dolores in the mix, I have 1 extra person. So what this does is it brings Alexander down to about 19% health. 19.5%. The best part is that since my party members weren't actually in the combat, I was able to just fast travel them back out. So they literally just showed up. Alexander's health disappeared for, you know, he would have no idea why because he didn't see them, and they're safe and sound on the Lady Vengeance. What I'm going to do now is I have Fane wielding a magnificent dagger, the kind of dagger that Alexander would love to be killed by, and I am going to use the Scoundrel ability Mortal Blow, which insta-kills any enemy that is under 20% vitality. And he's at 19.5% right now. So I can just use this on him and he is dead. It's over. The fight is pretty much easy from this point on because without Alexander, none of these guys have the faith buff that he was giving them. I just absolutely dumpstered this guy in the fight. I had no idea that I was going to be able to keep my party members out of the battle as well, but I just had Fane play dead in the smoke cover, and then I brought everybody back in and we helped Gareth finish off the Magisters, but it was not really a hard fight from that point on because, again, Alexander is like the main thing that would have made this fight difficult, and he got one shot before he even got to take a turn. I accidentally hit Gareth with one of my area of effect spells, and he turned against me, which wasn't ideal. I teleported him really far away and then finished off the rest of the Magisters before having all my party members leave the fight, and with nobody left to fight, Gareth went back to neutral, so I didn't have to kill him, which was nice because I didn't want to have to kill Gareth, but I would have. Now we're going to kill Forked Tongue, which I think is an actually kind of interesting name because it made me think of Forked Lightning, which made me want to use Chain Lightning and all sorts of other lightning spells on him, and they actually work extremely well against Forked Tongue. Forked Tongue has this deflection aura that makes all of his allies deflect attacks, but if you just initiate your bouncing attack on Forked Tongue, then the deflection doesn't return damage to you, and he actually gets hit an extra time by the spell. I don't know if Larian like intentionally named him Forked Tongue in hopes that people were going to use Forked Lightning on this guy to avoid taking damage from the deflection aura, but it seems appropriate to me. So I pretty much had everybody stunned before they even got to do anything. I had Losa cast Thunderstorm to just absolutely barrage them because I wanted to see if maybe Thunderstorm would get reflected. But again, it says projectile deflected, but nothing actually hit Losa. So I don't know if it reflected it to the source and that's just the sky and it did nothing. But almost all of them were stunned out. That didn't stop one of them from jumping up and just one-shotting Losa instantly, which was actually more of a problem than it would seem like it should be because all of my characters have really weird builds right now, except for Losa, who still has a regular caster build intact. The Thunderstorm fired off again and did most of the remaining work, but I don't really have any extra damage to use for my other party members, like at all. So I was able to use one more Chain Lightning. I came in with a Electric Conduit spell as well, but there was an enemy who survived it with plenty of health, and I don't have any damage spells at all. So I did need to resurrect Losa and have her use her spells to actually finish off this last enemy because we really had nothing left. This Elven Scion wanted Sebille to like become a mother tree or something, and Sebille just got her freedom, so I was not into that at all. They summoned a bunch of totems to try and fight me, and that was a mistake. That was a big mistake because I know a thing or two about totems. And what we're gonna do for this fight is we are going to use Totems of the Necromancer, which summons a totem next to every enemy in the area, and that includes the totems that they brought into the fight. So really all the Elven Scion managed to do was give me more warriors because my totems are better than hers. My totems just went around and one-shot all of the other totems, but there's also 3 more elves that join the fight, so it's not going to be quite that simple. Or maybe it will be that simple, because, I mean, if you have more totems, you just win, right? That's been my experience so far playing this game. So I had the Red Prince show up and use Totems of the Necromancer and summon an additional totem, and I also had Losa show up and summon a bunch of totems. With this many totems all around the room, it really wasn't gonna be long before all of my enemies dropped to the ground dead. Plus, I just kept summoning a new totem every turn so that I'd have some extra in case they didn't manage to finish the job on their first try. Now it's time to take on this cursed Knight of Duna, who's in a tomb that has traps everywhere, and I'm gonna use those traps to my advantage. But before I use the traps to my advantage, I'm going to get absolutely slaughtered by him because without the ability to wear armor, I can't beat enemies' initiative all the time anymore. There's just no way for me to get my initiative high enough because my wits are completely maxed right now. And I thought he was going to go into a sequence where he just killed me over and over again, but he just killed me the one time and then let me live, which was nice. So what I did is I teleported him over close to the traps that I had to get through to get over here. And the traps shoot poison damage, which is why I'm using Feign, because he likes poison. And I perfectly positioned a corpse so I could nether swap him into the line of fire of 2 different traps. Now the traps won't actually fire off when you're in the middle of a combat, but that doesn't really matter very much because all I need to do is bring another party member into the fight who is not a part of the combat and just have them stand by and watch as the Cursed Knight of Duna gets absolutely shredded by these poison traps. It kind of feels like he should have had like more resistance to poison, like 100% resistance to poison, because there's no way I'm not going to take advantage of something like this. But he's not undead, so I guess it wouldn't really make sense to give him the poison resistance. But either way, he gets absolutely destroyed by this trap, and I don't even have to do anything. Easy kill. Next to die is going to be the Sallowmander, and I used Alexander's severed head to get him to remove the illusion so I could come in because I can't equip the cowl because it's a no armor run. And I have something pretty special in mind for the Sallowmander. I wanted to see if I could get the Sallowmander to have a conversation with Lohse while they both are standing in lava. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Feign talk to Lohse so that all of the status effects that she has get completely paused. Then I'm going to have the Red Prince use cryogenic stasis onto Lohse so that she has plus 100% fire resistance. Because of the warm debuff, she actually has minus 15%, so I had her run demon so she'd get the extra 15 back, so she's perfectly resistant to fire damage. I teleported her down there while she was still in conversation so that the permafrost didn't go away. Then I used nether swap with the Sallowmander and Lohse to get him to teleport down there without actually damaging him and putting him into a combat state. I teleported Lohse down there, ended the conversation she was having with Feign, and managed to get them to have a nice little chat while standing in lava. It was actually really funny because Lohse was like going through the motions of the conversation while frozen because the demon inside Lohse was talking to the Sallowmander, and the Sallowmander lost all of his health instantly because he's standing in lava. But what was really weird is that after he took his turn, the game just completely froze up. It would not move forward. It did not matter how long I waited. The combat was just busted. So I had Feign fire a projectile in and actually finish the Sallowmander off, which put him into this unconscious chained up state. And I was worried that it was going to be stuck again, but then it actually did manage to move the combat forward, which was nice because now it is Lohse's turn. And I didn't really like have a plan beyond this point because I mean, I assumed that he would probably die to the lava, but I just wanted to see if I could have the conversation down at the bottom. I cast cryogenic stasis on Lohse again to see if I could extend the duration, but it actually didn't work. Since she was already frozen, it didn't do anything. The status effect stayed about to run out. So I decided to just click end turn because Lohse has the comeback kid talent. So if she does die to the lava, I was pretty sure that she would survive it for at least one turn. So that's what I went ahead and did. And sure enough, she did resist death, and that made it so the Sallowmander stood back up and was back in the fight with half health. Now at this stage in the fight, he is enraged, which means that he cannot cast any spells. He's completely silenced, but all of his attacks are critical hits. So what I decided to do was I teleported Lohse up onto this cliffside, and then I brought the Sallowmander back up because I ended turn over and over and over again to see if the lava would kill him, and it just did not. It just did not kill him at all. So I decided to teleport him back up to land so that Sebille would have a line of sight to attack him. And since he's enraged, he can't use any movement abilities. So he just stood there upset while Sebille perforated him with arrows. It was wonderful. I didn't know how any of this would go. And before I left the Sallowmander's lair, I had one more goofy strategy to try out, which I needed Wendigo to help me with. I want to see if I can get Wendigo to hit herself with a spell. So I stacked up these oil barrels so to be a tiny bit more dramatic. She does have fire resistance, so she's not really the most exciting person to try this on. But what I did is I put Fane in combat, and then I waited for the moment that she was casting Fireball to nether swap her into the attack that she just fired off, and she got exploded by all the oil barrels and ran through the fire to get back over to Fane. So it was mission accomplished. She took a pretty decent amount of damage. If she wasn't resistant to fire damage so much, it might have actually been a pretty big deal. Otherwise, I just finished the fight up with her. She is not strong. As I got closer to reaching Divinity, my party members wanted to chat and see who was going to ascend.
Final prize is yours.
You will be the new divine. Let's do this.
Thankfully, I'd done a good job of helping them with all of their desires, so they are all supporting me. They all have my back, and it feels so good to know that my party members are behind me, and I will never leave them. I will never betray them. They are the best party members I could possibly ask for. I went into the arena to prove that I really am the one, and just snuck around behind all of these guys and yanked their phase capacitors out, and without their phase capacitor they can't operate. So I won the fight without even needing to fight at all. It was a very nice experience. I'd highly recommend it, and I love the fact that Larian put into the game this method of winning the fight. It's such a creative way to let you win a fight, by just yanking out the phase capacitors, and now they're dead and you still get experience. Before I go on to the final battle, I wanted to get even more experience by exploring the Imp Pocket Realm. I didn't feel like killing the doggos, so I just teleported the gem away from them and then fast traveled away, and I grasped that gem and yeeted myself into the Imp Pocket Dimension, which a lot of people said that you should be really careful in here. So I'm gonna have my party members all split up a little bit so that they're not all at risk of like any one trap or anything like that, because I definitely want to make sure that they don't all die at the same time, because I don't want to lose my save file. I've come so far and I'm getting so close to finishing out Act 3 right now. I am pretty glad that I split my party members up, because there were a couple traps that caught me off guard, and they didn't really do enough damage to be concerning, but it still felt nice to know that my party members weren't near each other. And I did read somewhere that you're not supposed to hit the emergency flush lever, so I made sure not to hit anything that looked like that. All right, let's head towards that core. I'm gonna leave Fane here in the poison, because at least then he's always healing. But yeah, past this door, there's like a big core looking bright glowing light thing. I obviously know what I'm talking about very much. And I'm gonna go have my party members deal with that, and Fane's gonna hang back. Hostile threat detected. That's not good. Let's see. In 3, 2, can reach for the great ball of light or complete the countdown in your head 1. I mean, I do love me a good countdown. Am I not supposed to click that? That seems... I want to click it. I feel like I should click it. I'm probably gonna click it. 0. I clicked it. 0.
Threat detected. Executing system extirpation.
Okay, that's fine. No! 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 It's fine. Fane's gonna be fine. It's just death fog. There's lava! No! 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 I'm alive. I have the idol. I'm exploding. Wait, what do I do? I'm dying to explosion. Why is it exploding over and over? Stop it. Okay, I don't know what to do. I jump away, different... I can't talk and do this. Okay. 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 Flaming skin. Flaming Skin put out the fire. I wasn't even going to, I didn't even have Flaming Skin for this fight. That was gonna be for the next one. This isn't even a fight. What just happened? Am I not supposed to finish a countdown? Why would I not finish a count? Who would not finish a countdown? How unsatisfying is it to not finish a countdown? That was so troll. All right, whatever. It looks like I'm fine. Everything is stable now. I'm gonna get my resurrection idol back, and then I just need to revive my party members. The door is closed. The door is closed and I don't have line of sight on them. It says they're too far. Maybe I can see through the door? You know what? No, it's not worth it. I'm gonna die down here. I'm gonna lose my game. I'm leaving. I'm just gonna leave. I will never leave them. I will never betray them. They are the best party members I could possibly ask. I will never leave them. I will never betray them. I will never leave them. I will never betray them. I'll come back for you. All right. I guess I'm just going to go and become divine now. It's gonna be a little bit harder with just Thane, but of any character, that's the one I would prefer most to be in this situation. So we're just gonna move on, I guess. Okay. I do have something to confess. On another save file, I did an extensive amount of testing in the Imp Pocket Dimension to make sure that those poison vents always cleared the lava surface. And while I was still terrified to do it, I just thought it would be really fun to try to troll you all and create a dramatic scene. I think I overdid it leading up to it, big time. I definitely overdid it, but I thought it would just be fun to troll and make it look like I was going to lose my save file, even though I was still feeling anxiety inside my body when I actually went through with it. But when you go into this next part of the game, all of your characters automatically get revived. So I have all of their builds preset up before I went into the Imp Dimension, so they're ready for the final fight. For the finale, I have two different battle strategies I'm going to use for the two different phases of the fight. The first phase of the fight is an embodiment of each of my character's gods is going to spawn in, and I'm going to need to be able to defeat them. And I'm gonna absolutely dumpster them with a trick that many of you probably know, but I'm going to stack Flaming Crescendo on Fane over and over and over again. Flaming Crescendo is a fire explosion spell that does damage after one turn. But since I put Fane into conversation with the Red Prince, any status effects on him don't progress until he gets out of that conversation. I'll be back in a little bit when I'm done stacking him to the brim with Flaming Crescendo. I'm back and we have so many Flaming Crescendos stacked up on Fane. He is absolutely ready to blow, and we just need to get over to the fight before the status effects expire. So I run over real quick, and the way that the gods spawn in is they spawn kind of based on where your party members are standing. So I had my party members follow me in. So the first three gods are hopefully going to be in range to get exploded by Flaming Crescendo. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they absolutely are. Looks like Sebille got caught in the blast, but I call worth it. And this is honor mode, so the game just saved. So, you know, we're locked in now. This is why I had Flaming Skin. It was so that I could get rid of the fire on me and then cast Chameleon Cloak so that I can hide out and not die in case something went horribly wrong. My thought was that since the flaming meteors kind of come down, I don't know if they come down in a fixed location or if they come down in random locations, and so I just didn't want to risk getting hit by one of them when I was invisible, so I figured if I was completely immune to fire, then I would be good to go. Lohse does enough damage to the embodiment of Amadia to get this fight to move into phase 2. Phase 2 is against this giant source titan that spawns in with half health, but it has a lot of armor and magic armor, so it's definitely no joke. It totally blew away my chameleon cloak when it landed, which is not ideal, but that's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use Summon Condor, because the Condor deals piercing damage, and I'm going to use haste on the Condor. I'm going to use time warp on the Condor. I'm going to try and let this Condor do as much damage as possible to this guy while completely ignoring all of his physical armor. So the Condor did a pretty good chunk of damage. I was kind of hoping it was going to do more, but it's okay. I have more piercing abilities on my other party members who are probably about to get absolutely, yeah, they just got slaughtered. That's okay. Actually, Lohse's, oh, okay. Oh, Lohse and the Red Prince were the only ones to die. And the Condor's gone. That's okay. Sebille was up at high ground. Thankfully, she died earlier, right? Because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to move her up to the top, I guess. But since it's Sebille, she has Flush Sacrifice for the extra action point, and she can use Adrenaline. So I'm gonna have Sebille bring everybody back, and we are going to try and take this thing down with piercing damage. Sebille has Marksman's Fang for her piercing damage, and I have her up at high ground, so it was a pretty good chunk of damage. The Red Prince has Sawtooth Knife as well as Ruptured Tendons. Plus he can use Skin Graft to get Sawtooth Knife back and use it a second time. Lohse still has a caster build, but I gave her all the armor piercing grenades that I could find in my party member's inventory, so she just needs to throw a couple of those, and she is using the talent Ambidextrous, which lets her throw grenades for only one action point as long as her offhand is empty. And it is. I have her offhand completely clear, so she is good to go. I got the Source Titan down to 3 HP, and I decided to just let him take a turn to see if he would walk, but he's smarter than that. He didn't want to die to the Ruptured Tendons, so I had Sebille finish him off by using Skin Graft and using Marksman's Fang again. My party members all leveled up, and we officially have beaten Act 3 and are headed into Act 4. Thank you so much for watching. There's a pretty good chance I'm not going to do Act 4 for a while because I'm going to be playing Baldur's Gate 3 instead, but I still would like to finish it, so at some point I'll come back for you.